Welcome to episode number
96
of the BEBC
BS
Podcast.
All those in favor of being really tired of that announcer, raise your hand.
Oh my Lord.
My gosh. So episode 96.
96.
This is a tribute to number 96, Byron Bonds.
Byron.
Awesome guy.
Yes.
Awesome player.
2013.
Yes, sir. Went to Baylor.
Yep.
Played his college ball with the Bears.
What's their
It's some kind of bear claw thing.
bear
I
claw
don't know.
thing? Yeah. But what it was not, just like Mark's shirt, it's not a Tennessee colored shirt.
It is not.
The shirt is a tribute to all of the flipping flags that the refs threw. It was way overkill.
Oh,
Way overkill. Anyway,
wow.
Oh, and also JJ's mom.
JJ's
JJ's
mom.
mom. Shout out to JJ's mom. Girl, we haven't met you yet, but we want to because she was fired up last night.
Oh, no kidding. Had that yellow towel or whatever it was she was waving.
Going to town.
Gosh,
Alarm went off.
get it.
Time to wake up.
We got bells and whistles and things going on this morning, guys.
It's a crazy morning.
It is crazy morning.
We
Saturday
spent
morning.
like double digits on breakfast. It's crazy.
James is feeling light in the pocketbook.
It was
because
good.
of the stock market yesterday. He's
Well, yeah,
not
and they're
happy
taking
about
on
that.
my bowling winnings, so my ill-gotten gains.
Hey, so first visit to Braswell Stadium last night.
We can start there. We started a little bit early this morning. Not much early. I know I look at it only about 5 minutes early. So we'll have Coach on here in about 15 minutes. We'll get his thoughts and everything. But that's a great place to start.
Yeah.
But I don't know what to say.
You know, I drove back and forth 380, for months and months and months, watching this stadium go up, and thought, well, okay, great, kind of close to the highway, especially once they expand the road.
Yep.
It's going to be right on top of it.
Yep.
What a terrible place to try to get into or out of. Except for getting out of it last night was really good because the police had 380 blocked off,
Yeah.
down to one lane, which I was surprised. I thought we'd be there for hours trying to get out of that place.
I was thinking the same thing.
But they got us out pretty quickly. Visitor side stands, just not enough. Exits.
Whoever designed that, whichever architect designed it, and whoever approved it, it's just not ergonomic. It's just not good. Not big enough.
They clearly spent a lot of money on it. It's
because they cost a lot these days. Yeah.
it's nice. Not a lot of seating, and they didn't give themselves any opportunity for expansion.
Exactly.
It's never going to be bigger than what it is right
That's
now.
the one thing that Cody mentioned to me earlier when we got there because we had a chance to look around. But because they built all the field houses and stuff, one, it's got a track around it.
Yeah.
So unless you're trying to get rid of your track, you got to build a new track if you're trying to expand a stadium. But they built a lot of stuff right on every corner. There's nowhere to go.
Yeah.
Even in the end zone, you could put temporary bleachers, but you'd have to remove them in order to run track. So
I thought it was pretty cool how it was set up with the locker rooms and buildings there, and then the practice field in between.
Mm-hmm.
It was really nice.
it's convenient from that perspective. But again, who knows what that school ever end up being. I mean, it was nice in the fact that it was new.
Mm-hmm.
My biggest complaint, and again, I do real estate for a living, and so I observe a lot of things. My biggest complaint about the whole thing was the entrances in and out of the stands.
Right.
Those were narrow.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, two big people,
No.
Can't go side by side.
What are you saying, Mark?
I'm just saying, two big people
You're not a big people anymore.
would
Yeah.
have to,
We wouldn't know.
we would have to make a determination of who's going first. Because it was narrow, and I was just, and I know that's, it met code.
And it's well protected, too.
We may or may not. talk
Sometimes,
about
yeah,
that.
sometimes
We'll see what
volunteers
kind
can
of
be a little bit aggressive.
Yeah, you think? But that was my biggest, when I looked at the whole kit and caboodle, that was the one thing I noticed is it's like, now I don't know if it's like that on the home side. Obviously, we weren't able to get over there, but those narrow walkways, just,
Well, the home side looked really interesting, too. Now, it wasn't very tall in terms of the number of rows on the bottom deck, but they had a lower deck and an upper deck with individual seats in the upper deck. It was kind of interesting.
Now, it looked like the concession stands were in between the upper deck and the lower deck.
Yeah, could have been,
in the
yeah.
concourse.
Yeah.
Instead of being down on the ground floor.
Yeah.
Well, like I said, we're going to go get tickets on that side if we're ever there again. 'Cause
Yeah.
that's the place
Yeah.
to be. I clicked the wrong thing as I was buying the tickets yesterday. I was like, oh, reserved seating. Look at that. So,
Wow.
fancy.
Yeah, and and they had the video board. They had 2 video boards, but the main video board is back behind the visitors.
Yeah.
And that's just kind of weird as opposed to on the south end zone. Yeah, it's okay.
All right, I got a complaint for the Denton
Uh-oh.
School District.
Uh-oh.
Okay, go.
I know everybody's going to online tickets, but if you're going to do that, they got to work.
Yes.
And if I'm
Yeah.
walking up and I'm trying to open your stinking website and it won't open,
Yeah.
and then your ticket people aren't letting me into the game, that's a no-go. The other thing is you guys put 7 Eastern on your stinking tickets, which I don't know if you guys know, but 7 Eastern is 6 Pacific. So I got there early. I got dehydrated
Well, or
yesterday. I got a headache.
Central time.
Like, did I say Pacific?
Yes,
That's where
you
my
did.
that's
where my head's at,
company's
yeah.
based.
Alley's in his head, man.
It's Central. So, like, come on, guys.
It's
Do
not-
better.
It's not hard.
It's not hard.
I agree with you on, especially on getting the app to open, because these guys, I think yours probably worked.
Yeah, ours worked for the first time.
Yeah.
Well, no, it worked at the last game too, but before they couldn't get them to scan.
Yeah, James's worked.
Mine worked, but I pressed the button instead of letting the person press the
And that,
button. That's weird. Well, she was giving me a hard
she
time,
hit
but that's
my
fine.
button and it wouldn't open. But
Did she hit your button?
She let me go. Yeah, she hit my button. But she let me go in, and then she would let the same person would let Cody come in. 10 minutes later. So it was very interesting to fix it.
Yeah.
Just fix it. That's fine. So it was. Again, it was what it was. Kudos to the Allen crowd for filling it
awesome.
up. And obviously the band took a big portion of that, but there were. It was nice to have kind of a crowded visitor section.
Yeah.
That was cool to see, and to be a very pretty vocal crowd last night, and they were prompted many different times
Yes.
by many different events, which we'll get into.
Oh man.
To have an opinion about something, but Lord have mercy, what a crazy game! James and I rode together, and we pontificated all the way home. Just you felt like I felt like, and I told James this. I said about halfway home, I said, I feel like we lost the game because there's still so much for this team to improve on
Right.
and clean up. But at the end of the day, you look at the scoreboard and you won 43-7.
Right.
And you're like, how did that happen?
Right.
I was worn out.
I mean, let's get this. Let's get this
I
out
was
of the
just
way.
like-
Yeah, 43-7. We should not have anything to complain about because 43-7 is a win, and that's great. And I'm super happy for the kids, for the
Yep.
coaches, for the fans. But I know Coach is going to say there's a lot of meat on the bone. There's a lot of cleanup that can be done, and it could have been a whole lot more lopsided in our favor.
Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah, because
And
Some of it's refs, some of it's our execution.
and it
cleanup.
could have been a whole lot closer too, with some catches from the other team and balls not thrown 40 yards over the top of some of their receivers' heads. And
Yep. I mean, did their quarterback get to 40% completion
he
rate?
ended up, I think, at 43.
Ooh.
But remember, he had a bunch late. But he 43.1.
Yeah.
19 of 44. It's not acceptable. I mean,
About the only thing that was working for them is they really kind of figured out that pass out to the flat to number one.
the walls. Yeah.
And we were giving them, the DBs were playing way off.
was that
and
Mr. Bricks?
That was Mr. Bricks. He had a few
bricks.
Braswell, first down.
That
hands like a couple bricks.
reminded me that a couple times that quarterback went down and was struggling to get up. It reminded me of that Mesquite quarterback.
Oh,
that
that number 9.
that
That was
we-
the basketball star.
yes,
Yeah.
that we messed up bad.
We got
poor
9
guy.
sacks on the
Yeah.
dude.
He did not have a good night. Not have a good night. Yeah, excuse me.
A great win. I mean,
Hey, you're 2-0 in district.
what it
and
is.
So you take a breath, deep breath.
yeah.
And I was telling James last night too, and we were talking to Thad on the way home too. It's like if someone just picks up the box score and looks at it, you go, oh, okay, Allen beat the pants off this team.
Mm-hmm.
Which from the box score view, that's what you see. But it was just so weird the way the whole thing transformed, and it just took a while. And there really, to me, there was never a tidal wave where you looked at the Allen, especially on the offensive side of the ball,
right,
and you just felt, okay, they're clicking now. Okay, they're clicking now. It's rolling. It's rolling.
Mm-hmm.
But at the end of the day, you look up and you scored 43 points. Your defense played lights out again.
A lot of people getting in
Yep.
on the act and on defense. That was
And that's very
exciting.
Yeah, it's fun to watch, and it's fun to sit back and say, who's that? Who's that kid? Who's that kid?
Yeah.
Because there was so much going
A
on.
lot of new numbers.
Yeah, which is really cool. Sorry, I'm looking at rosters. I've only got like 8 of them running around. Get the one that does the most. But it was a strange game, and one of the questions I was going to have for Coach, because for the longest time I thought it was going to be 2-0 at halftime. Yeah. And I was going to say, hey, Coach, you ever been involved in a game where it was 2-0 at halftime? Because it's, Braswell, their front four was pretty good. And their safety, number 17, who they kept rushing up to the line, he was really good in run support last night.
Yeah.
Was keeping the Eagles in check. They stopped them twice on 4th down in the first quarter.
Well, they stopped us once, and we had some interesting snap situation on the other one.
Again.
Yeah, but that's so much better than the number that was last year.
The snap situations was the exception this time instead of the rule, and so that was one of the things that got cleaned up substantially.
Especially in the second half.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah. And
Sharp, crisp snaps, and when number 6 came in, a little bit shorter quarterback, the sharp crisp was like going a little high.
it was a little high right at his face. And a couple times Dylan had to dodge the ball and not get his eye
Well,
poked out.
he did a great job recovering.
Oh, that's right.
And
One, he
probably
popped
playing
off his hands, he turns around and catches it
probably
in
helping.
midair.
Basketball helped a lot on that one.
Yeah,
So
there you go.
Yeah, absolutely.
He's got some wheels. So
Yes, he does.
he knew to get out of there. It's just another district win, which, when you look at Allen's schedule coming up, and I'm going to say this now, you got Rock Hill next week for homecoming. You get a week off, and then you got what is going to be really 3 really tough games back to back to back. You get McKinney, Geyer, and Prosper.
Right. A little bit of a gauntlet at the end.
Yeah. And
You'd hope that the team would be all the issues shaken out
Yep.
and kind of clicking on all cylinders. We'll see.
Yeah.
We'll see how well they do.
It's, next week should be again, we'll talk about what happened in district last night, but I thought that game last night between Prosper and Rock Hill was going to be a lot more competitive than it was.
Yeah.
So that kind of made you stop and say, okay, did Prosper finally find something? Because they hadn't scored that many points all year.
Right.
We caught up with the Prosper ISD buses last night and figured out it was Rock Hill because they'd already come from the tollway, and they turned over on Coit, headed south towards Frisco, and they must be right on the border somewhere down in there for them to go
That far down?
that far away.
Yeah, I don't know where it's at.
Maybe they were just going to hang out at Whataburger.
They were trying to find an uncrowded Whataburger.
Yeah, exactly.
Right.
Yeah, but it was they turned towards Frisco.
Good
so.
luck with that.
Yeah.
Good luck with that. A good night statistically for the Eagles, and we'll get into a lot
Very
more of
good
this
night.
after we talk to Coach here in a minute. But 542 yards of total offense, very balanced last night. 313 passing, 229 rushing. I will say that I thought Mr. Mike Hawkins had his best game of the year last night.
He did.
Um,
In the
especially-
70% range? you
He ended
said?
up in the 60s, but he
He
was
was
over
close,
70.
yeah.
66. So 2 out of 3, 67%.
Yeah.
256 yards, 2 touchdowns passing, 2 touchdowns rushing, one on a phenomenal run where he tiptoed down the sideline.
Yeah.
That was awesome.
Fitz Young.
Yeah, worked his blocks really well on that one run to get in the end zone, and he did it when the team really needed it too, because there was just some offensive lulls. It seemed like that things just, and a lot of it we'll go back to and we'll talk about, and we'll ask the coach about this too, is the penalties.
Mm-hmm.
There were 12 of them last night. And I went back and I get up way too early on these mornings. 5 false starts.
Yeah.
You know, you're like, in 2 of them in one series or one sequence of plays, and you're like, you know, guys, you just penalized yourself 10 yards in the same 3-down series, you know. 3 holdings, 1 blindside block, and then they had 3 defensive penalties. So it was a flag-filled night for the Eagles, which, you know, when you've got 9 offensive penalties, you tend to shoot yourself in the foot a little bit.
Mm-hmm.
So we'll talk to Coach. Actually, we'll give him a call now and see what
Those are the top penalties that are going to be tough when you get to these stretch of 3 games coming up.
Yeah.
You know, they have to go away.
You got to play cleaner. Absolutely.
Let's see how many ringy dingies it is today.
1
Oh, no.
ringy dingy. 2 ringy dingy.
Hello.
Coach.
Morning.
Hey, how are you?
I'm doing well. How are y'all?
Hey, you know, we're just, I don't know what the word is.
We're good.
We're good, but we just have a lot of questions.
Yeah.
And they told us to call you for the answers.
Yeah, I've got them all.
Well, congratulations. You're 2-0 in district,
Yeah,
which is,
Well,
I know,
thank you.
where you wanted to be
that's right.
and the team wants to be. We've been talking here for about 20 minutes a little bit just about what a strange game it seemed to be last night. So we just want to get your thoughts on it.
Yeah, I mean, it's, I don't know if strange would be the word that I would use, but, you know, there was definitely some, I don't know, some frustrating things. But there was tons and tons and tons of big time highlights too. You know, again, I talk about the way the motor at which these guys are playing. You know, and you know, D-line being so disruptive, and you know, this is a team that had been putting up a lot of points, and you know, I thought they did a good job. You know, this team does a great job schematically, offensively, and you know, they're going to put you in some binds. You know, they are Denton Geyer, right? You know, their head coach is best friends with the old Geyer coach, and they're doing the same things that Geyer did to Allen last year, and it was just good plan. And then defensively, they completely ran a different defense than they had been running, which, you know, big picture for them, I thought was smart. I think it fits their personnel better. It's just something they hadn't done, and it was, you know, because of that, took a while for the offense to adjust to that. But again, you know, I thought it was a good win, and very ugly at times, as you know, most football is. Not as pretty as I certainly want it to be, but again, I'm proud of the way they you know, found a way to get it done, and you know, uglier first half than second half, but you know, took a game, and I guess essentially early in the second half, and made it to where you still weren't playing great. It didn't look like it was phenomenal football, but you also felt like, you know, this game is probably in hand, you know, just because of the flow and the way that the defense was, for the most part, defending the run, and going to force them to have to, you know, beat you with the pass.
Sure. And Coach, I got up early this morning because I was really interested in as you drive home, James and I, we rode together, and so we were pontificating. And like I told James last night, I said it felt like at times, or in the car, it's like I almost feel like we lost because, as you said, there's a lot of things that were, I'll use your term, ugly, but then you look up at the scoreboard and it's 43-7, and you're like, if you,
How can you be disappointed in that? You just can't. I mean,
Well, and that's the thing, is that if you allow yourself to, you know, and too many people, that's you know, what too many people want to get caught up in that, you know, and you play football and you step on the field, and it doesn't matter if you're playing football, you're playing checkers, you're playing chess, you want to win the game, you know, and you win the game, you walk away, you're excited, you win the game, and that's what it should be, right? That's what, certainly to a fan and to someone like that, you know, to us that have to come in and grade it and improve those, you know, there's things we've got to work on, but we lose sight of again, I mean, this is a team that, is trying to win games too, and you look at them who phenomenally coached, in my opinion, across the board, and just having a lot of things. It's a tough game to play, my goal for us is to try to, appreciate wins, because that's just being honest. When I came here to Allen, that's the thing that they said it had really lost its luster, as too many people would just say, oh, we're supposed to win, and you wouldn't appreciate the wins, and you have games against a team that you're better than, and you beat them by 10 points, you beat them by 7 points, and you're upset for beating them, and those things are the things that, that I'm trying to keep my mind wrapped around, as we're trying to become a better football team, is just keeping in perspective that, hey, it's hard to win football games, and this team has found a way to win a few, and that's a positive, that's a good thing, and that's what they're going to be hearing from me while we're trying to improve upon things at a higher rate. But still, it's a lot better to be improving on them after a win than a loss.
Exactly. Well, I think we're in sync, definitely in sync, as far as taking the positives out of it. And so I'd like to follow up on that a little bit. We saw a lot of things that got cleaned up. We saw a lot of things that the kids were doing right. Can you talk a little bit about kind of where your perspective is and what you saw and what you're happy with that got cleaned up and working?
Really what I said is happy about the fact that we won. And again, the D-line I thought played really well. We were able to put some pressure on them when they were throwing. We were able to defend the run really well for the most part. We, in the secondary, we probably did some things better. On paper, you didn't give up that many deep balls. Had another one that they held us, which conceivably doesn't get thrown if they don't hold, maybe. But I think it was, I think the secondary, we did some things a little better. Still have an awful long way to go. Offensively, I thought we did some things better, executing some RPOs better than we had been. I think that their change of defense probably threw us for a loop and limited our run game. So I don't think we ran it very well, good enough to keep chains moving, good enough to get the win, of course, but not well enough to say you're proud of the run game. I thought quarterback had his best game in terms of decision making. Still missed some that he knows he missed, and would have kept a drive alive here or there. But in terms of just overall decision making, I thought it was the best that he had in that regard. And receivers were blocking downfield, in a couple of plays that we were able to kind of get out in space. You had, I thought, phenomenal effort with receivers downfield blocking. So there were definitely some things that improved. Yes.
Just a couple things I'm gonna throw out at you here, and you'll get these stats from your guys, I know, later. But like you talked about the defense they had 31 rushing attempts last night. 15 of them went for 0 or negative yardage.
Yeah.
And you look at that and you go, that's really good.
Yeah, really good. Yeah. Well, and I just believe, and again, this world changes in high school football and in college and NFL football, but I believe that, you look at the team that runs for the most yardage, they're going to win most games. I just believe that it all starts with being able to run the ball and being able to defend the rush. And, and I think that, again, that's a huge stat. It just is, I think offensive football is about staying within the chains. And staying within the chains, no part of that means 0 yards. I'm saying you run a play, you ought to move the ball forward in some capacity. I think you look at good offensive football, that's what's happening. And when you're telling me that half their runs did not do that, that's pretty stymied defense.
Yeah, that's great. And we love good defense, and it's fun to see. One of the things we've noticed too is really good tackling. there's not a lot of broken tackles with this team.
There's not a lot. There's definitely things that we're working on daily to improve that a couple times got exploited last night. But I agree. It's something that's getting worked daily, and they're doing a great job. I mean, again, you can't say enough about how hard the kids are playing.
Yeah. These next two questions kind of go hand in hand. What about, and everybody will know this, 12 penalties last night?
Do what?
12 penalties?
Yeah. We had pre-snap penalties, which to us is just third grade football. It's just things that cannot occur. And we had I think 3 of those offensively. Just simply you can't have those. And then there was some others. I really think this officiating crew did a really, really good job. I thought they called some things that maybe I wouldn't have called, that
like a fumble on a kickoff.
Yeah, like a fumble on a kickoff.
But I'm even talking just some some flags that I thought that were all penalties. Some that hurt them, but I probably wouldn't have called. I thought they were maybe a little flag happy, but everything that I saw and that I've seen on film was a legitimate call. But there's that's just something that in our world is huge, and our kids know on Saturday mornings that's addressed with us when we have what we consider foolish 15-yard penalties, which
those are no fun.
There's you just got to, that's just something you talk about the penalties, and what our kids hear over and over and over is that when you get to a point to where 2 teams are evenly matched and it's a game that's going to be decided by this play or that play, if penalties are leaning towards one team, there's a really good chance that team's going to find a way to win it, regardless of other things that happen. So,
sure. We had a question, and this again, as your position with the Texas High School Coaches Association, you can answer this, and I think a lot of people are interested in this as it relates to officials.
Yeah.
What is the evaluation process? Is it done on a game-by-game basis, and who does it, and how does that all work?
Well, you have the opportunity, I guess, if you want to, as a coach, you can send in an evaluation to the chapter. You could send film and say, this was bad, this was that, whatever. But they also will have what they would consider, I guess, some lead officials or some, teaching officials that will go out to certain games. There was one at the Martin game doing that, but that will be sitting there, taking notes, and then, maybe go between, half the quarters or at halftime, certainly talking, but those things will go on. I've always been this way. In college, I officiated basketball games, and I've always told people that I used to go to the officials meetings, and never one time did I hear an official say, hey, I'm going to try to mess up, and never one time did I hear an official say, I'm going to really try to get this team. I think that our kids are going to play hard, and they're going to make mistakes, and officials are going to come out there because they respect the game. They want to do what's right by the game, and they're going to try hard, and they're going to make mistakes. But, so I've never scratched an officiating crew. I've never made a complaint about an official, and you'll certainly never hear anyone associated with our team, a coach or a player, ever talk about excuses or officials, because those are excuses, and we want to believe that we're going to work hard and we're going to improve upon the things that we do. We're not going to look for things to blame. We're not going to say, I could have done this or I could have done that if the field wasn't slippery, or if the official would have called this way, or if that guy, you wouldn't have juked me, whatever. We're gonna take what it is, and we're gonna try to make the absolute best of it. Know that that it's up to us. Whatever that us in that situation is, it's up to us. And so you'll never hear us talk about officials in terms of affecting a game.
Okay. Well, again, we were just wondering what that process was.
Yeah, good information.
And you have that. There's a lot of coaches will do it. A lot of coaches will send it. You'll go and dissect every film and send it in and say this was terrible, this was bad.
Yeah.
Again, I don't know if the guy was down on the kickoff or not. What I say is ball security. You go into the ground. You have 2 hands on the ball. If we, what we're supposed to do is when we get up, we're supposed to hand the ball to the official. If we do that, we know there's nothing to discuss.
Yeah.
Right. So for us to say he was down or not, well, he probably was, but oh well. Why did the ball come out? That's not something we practice. So we've got to get better at it.
All right. Well, here's your question of the day.
Yep.
All right. I was honestly, and I apologize for this. I was actually going to text this to you because this might require a little bit of thought because it's actually a good question, I think.
Yeah. All right.
You win the sports lottery, okay? And you're able to go to any game, any sport, any game, any sporting event every year for the rest of your life. What are you going to?
Wow. And I don't even know why I'm about to say this because I'm not a huge fan, but I think it would probably be like a Notre Dame, but probably a Notre Dame USC.
Okay.
Something like, and I don't know if it's the Rudy movie in me, but I have always been intrigued. I don't have the opportunity to go to college games.
Right.
I love the atmosphere of that. But I think it would probably be a Notre Dame game. And if there was, now that I am having time to thought, I've always heard the Army-Navy.
Oh, boy. That's a good one.
Unbelievable. So
that'd be
I
fun.
would trump it.
Yeah. Well, cool. Well, Coach, good luck next week. I'm sorry. One other thing, and I apologize.
Yes.
How was the crowd last night from your vantage point?
Man, I don't do a great job of even seeing the crowd. I don't. And last night was one time that I should have, if I ever should have. But
shame on you.
It took me middle of the fourth quarter before I could understand the scoreboard system. So the coach had told me before, hey, all the information is on the scoreboard behind you. So I was looking up there, and then I finally late realized that it was, as a little bottom liner on the home side as well. But
right.
But anyway, so I when I see it, it's typically in pregame, and it's never at its capacity. But I would guess that it was what the crowd has been all the other time. I would think it was good, and certainly considering that drive you have to make to get there, which is the last 20 minutes or so, is tough sledding.
Brutal.
Yeah, yeah, even for you guys. Well, homecoming next week with Rock Hill coming in, who we thought was going to give Prosper a little more than they did last night, but another district challenge. And,
I tell you, they have a young quarterback that's about as good as there is. He is. I haven't seen a ton of them, but the little bit I saw of them playing, Braswell, he is special, and I love what they're doing offensively. I am shocked by last night's score. I'm not shocked by the outcome because I think that Prosper defensively is a whole nother level. I don't know offensively. You kind of look at that score and you wonder, has Prosper had a piece or two that have been injured, and maybe you're just now getting back. But yeah, I'm anxious to see kind of how that one played out because Rock Hill's offense has been really, really good up until that point.
Yep, it has been. So, well, we appreciate your time again every week and today, and congratulations on the win, and we will see you next Friday.
Well, thank y'all, and y'all enjoy the rest of your weekend.
Thanks,
you
Coach.
guys.
Bye.
Okay.
Bye. There he is, our weekly call with Coach Wig. Again, I can't thank him enough for just taking that time and
Absolutely.
just telling us, what's on his mind.
Yeah. I think it's super helpful for people to hear from the coach because he's the man. He's got all the information. He's got a great perspective on things, and ultimately he is right. Don't be complaining. Certainly don't use the refs or the field or anything else as an excuse. So good on him.
I just love how he takes out of his time to do this, and it just goes a long way to show what his intentions are here in bringing the community together, football.
Yeah. Hope he's here a good long
fans
time.
together.
Yeah.
And I do too. I hope he's here a really long time because he's a really good man.
Whew. Just to piggyback off what he said about what happened last night in the Prosper Rock Hill had 121 yards total offense.
Wow.
10
That
out of
is shut
17
down.
passing for 54 yards, only one turnover. So,
Stout.
Yeah.
pretty impressive.
But,
Unlike the Plano East where there were 4 or 5 turnovers, but
I
yeah.
wonder what the Prosper Eagles defensive stats were.
They were good. Yeah. So anyhow,
You know,
that's
something about defensive stats. We've had some pretty good turnovers.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, we're
You win the turnover battle again last night. You have 3 picks. Picks and a fumble. We have the one fumble on the kickoff, which, again,
up for
We haven't
debate.
even discussed that
Up
yet.
for debate. We think it wasn't a fumble, but
It's not up for debate.
yeah. Alan, we'll run through this quickly because I don't know what you say about the game again. Like Coach even said, there was parts of it that were ugly.
yeah.
And to me, that first quarter was about as ugly a quarter as you can get. I mean, and I'd have to go back and look. This is a good research project for this week. When was the last time Allen didn't score in the first quarter of a game?
Yeah.
And I don't know if we scored. I don't know when we scored against Bosco, whether it was first quarter or not. But it's
Yeah, it was.
it's been
Yeah.
a while.
It was.
Well, how many times did we go for it on fourth down?
It was.
too?
Twice.
It was 9-7 going
In the second
quarter.
Yeah.
On the return for Allen, number 11, Jeremiah Dillard.
He was down. He bounced out when he hit the ground.
Braswell football.
Allen kicked off to start the game, and they get a penalty on first down for holding. The second play, they throw a 50-yard bomb to Jerian Wallace, who's a very good receiver. We
Yeah.
call him brick hands. He had his moments last night where he didn't catch the ball where he should have, but that kid's a good receiver. He's going to
Yeah.
be playing D1 ball somewhere.
Yep.
And they get into the Eagle territory, stop them on fourth down. They get the ball, and they start driving, and they get to a fourth and manageable, 4th and 1 in Braswell territory, and they lose 2 yards. And I thought that was very interesting. He said that they ran a different defense than they've run all year.
Yeah, no.
Right.
And that sheds light on all of us in the stands who don't know that
Yeah.
as to, okay,
What's going on?
something's different.
Right.
Allen wasn't prepared for it, and it's going to take a little while to adjust. But
Mhm.
now that you know that, it makes it a lot
Right.
easier.
Yeah.
Lack of effectiveness of our
Well-
run.
It's the Troy Aikman on Kellen Moore. Like his criticism of Kellen Moore is he's great schematically. He'll figure out a way to beat you, but on the day of the game, you've got to be able to adapt fast to what they're giving you on the field.
Yeah.
And that's something we've struggled with
Bingo.
all year is taking advantage of the stuff that they're giving us.
Yeah. So it kind of short-circuited the Eagles in the first quarter.
Yeah.
Because the run game wasn't getting the 25, 15, 30, 40, 70-yard runs
Yeah.
that they've been getting. Braswell gets the ball back, and they lose 13 yards, and they have to punt. Allen again goes 61 yards. They get down to the 6-yard line, go for it on 4th and 1, and they don't get it. And you're like, oh, here you go. You're just like, what is going to happen here?
Braswell needs to take a hard look at the soccer team and find somebody to come and punt for him.
That is the issue, because as time rolled through the first quarter, Braswell ends up losing field position. The field's flipped, and they go back to punt. And again, they have a short little guy, or they have their quarterback.
Yeah.
And neither one of them to me were very good, but the quarterback gets it, and I will say kudos to the coaching staff for this, because they saw something in the special teams film where they felt like rushing
The
punter,
house.
bringing the house was going to work, and by golly, they rushed, and they were back there so fast, and the quarterback, Keegan Bird, tried to bail out, and when he did, he slipped. In the end zone for a safety, and at that point, you're in the second quarter. It's about 11 minutes left, and I was thinking to myself, because I think about questions for the podcast. I was saying, "Hey, Coach, you ever been involved in a game that's 2-0 at halftime?" That seemed to be what was happening.
Yeah.
Because you're like, what in the world? They do get the ball back and end up kicking a field goal, so it's 5-0 now, and you're still like, man, it's just not there yet. And again, knowing they changed the defense, still haven't adapted to make it be effective, and the penalties are starting to add up. Coach said 3 false starts. I went back and looked. I counted 5.
Yeah.
3 holding penalties, and then you had some defensive penalties in that too, and you kill yourself. We had 2 false starts in a matter of 3 plays, so you automatically, now you're trying to gain 20 yards rather than 10.
Yeah.
Doesn't
Yeah,
make it
so
easy.
when we do highlights, we usually try and focus on the positive highlights, for Allen. We don't really show a whole lot of the other team's positive. And we're just going to skip to the second half pretty much.
We'll get them done, folks.
Yeah,
It'll be
there you
interesting. Allen goes up 5-0 after that. Braswell can't do anything. And then finally, Allen goes, 4 plays, the last 36 yards on a run by Hawkins, who used his feet last night.
Tightrope.
He was the leading rusher for the team with 77 yards last night. To see that field open up and be able to take off, it's good to have that. But still, you're still kind of okay. It's 12-0, but then you give them a touchdown right back.
Yeah.
And you're like, okay, you're not out of the woods here, because, well, actually before that, and Coach even mentioned it, there was a holding call on them when we were up 5-0 that they hit a long pass, scored, and just like that, you're behind.
Yeah.
But there was a holding penalty. It got called
Brought it back. Thank goodness.
You never got that comfortable feeling.
Right, like you're pulling away.
Yeah, for the longest time.
Playing with your food.
Yeah. Still 12-7. The kickoff happens. Everybody saw the replay. Everybody saw it live. We discussed this morning at breakfast, I don't know, I'm just going to use 5,000 people in the stands saw that he was down. 7 officials on the field
Did not.
did not. And that's when I looked at it, and we kind of generated the questions about officials. But
On the return for Allen, number 11, Jeremiah Dillard.
He was down. He bounced out when he hit the ground.
Braswell football.
I don't know how that happens.
And the only thing I can think is that somebody saw the ball loose or just slightly on the way out as he's going down before he hit the ground.
But his knees were down first.
Yeah, it was, to me,
Yeah.
and I think to most people, especially when they ran the replay, because
Right.
when it happened, it's like, okay, he hit the ground and the ball comes out.
Nothing.
On the replay, he hits the ground and the ball comes out. It's like, that's what everybody saw.
It's a no-brainer.
Yeah, it was pretty simple. But anyhow, and that was like 3 minutes left in the game, or excuse me, in the half.
Yeah.
Braswell doesn't get a first down. They go back to punt, and here we go again.
Yeah.
Poor Keegan Bird looks up, and there's a flock of, they don't call them a flock.
Flock of eagles.
What's a covey? What's
A dove?
What's a flock of eagles called?
Flock of eagles.
Flock of
Is it a
eagles.
flock?
Yeah.
Is it? Or
Oh, no, I'm sorry. Flock of seagulls. Yeah.
Fine.
A herd.
I heard. He looks up anyhow, and there ain't nowhere to
A
punt the
clutch
ball.
of eagles.
He loses 11 yards, and Allen takes over at the Braswell 20 with
Yeah.
2 minutes left. And you're like, okay, kind of a karma issue.
Yeah.
We get the ball back at their 20. Go 4 plays, 20 yards on a touch, or actually Hawkins' second touchdown run,
Yeah.
6 yards.
He's feeding right behind his blocker and
19
beautiful
to 7.
play.
Okay, I feel a little better. You really do like the way the defense is playing. They can't run the ball.
Very hungry, very aggressive.
And we've said this for years. If you make any team one-dimensional, it makes it a lot easier. And I felt like they turned Braswell into a one-dimensional team
Right.
last night.
Right.
And when you go one-dimensional passing, and you're going up against that front four who's putting so much pressure on the quarterback, the same thing happened to Geyer last year. I don't know if you remember the Geyer game. You know, Jackson Arnold's a 5-star quarterback going to OU, but last year in that game, the front four was able to put so much pressure on him, he looked like your normal Texas high school quarterback, because it's a whole different ball game when you got people breathing down your neck.
That's right. You got 7-on-7, which is like,
Yeah.
we're not going to get it. And no big boys running at you.
No.
So
And
it's different.
that's what happened last night. Was Keegan Bird was running for his life, and bless his heart, on the run, he's not as accurate as when he can just get it and pitch it out.
Yeah.
To guys that are, 8 yards down the field. When you're running for your life, he ended up, what we say, 43% passing.
Well, and there were a bunch of plays where their receiver, they were going long, their receivers got behind our defenders, but he way overthrew.
Yeah.
Way
Or they
overthrew,
dropped it.
way overthrew. Yeah, or they dropped
They
it.
did have
Behind
some
them.
dropsies.
5, 6, 7 yards behind them.
Yep.
And that's, if we get up against a really, really proficient passing team, that could be a problem.
Yeah.
But I like what they were doing in terms of keeping it in front of them. They were giving up that 6, 8, 10-yard pass to number one, but he wasn't getting much more than a first down on that. So,
It's concerning, though, because everybody's done that against us consistently, that short pass.
well, it's the shades of 2005, 2006 defenses where we're always playing 7 or 10 yards off, and against the South Lake, and they'll beat you 48-0.
Yeah.
It's
just it depends. This team, there's something about that defense. Again, you gave up 7 points,
that's right.
and they found a way, despite all the stuff we're talking
To
about,
stop the drives.
Stop the drives.
Yep.
And granted, Braswell had 9 penalties themselves. It's not like they were not doing things to hurt their own cause, but you shut down the. They averaged 1.81 yards per rush. And like I said when talking to Coach, 15 plays out of 31 rushes were for negative or 0 yardage. And so you look at that stat, and here's the other thing. They ended up with 56 total yards rushing. 36 of those yards came on the series right before the half,
right.
especially the last play when they let them. Again, their longest rush last night was 19 yards. And that happened on that series. They had a 17-yarder and a 19-yarder on that series before the half. So there's your rushing yards for the night. It was stout.
Shut down.
Yeah.
Way to go defense.
Allen gets the ball to start the second half, and It's like a car that's cold in the morning that won't start. Nothing. You get halfway through the quarter, and they score again on a 4-yard pass from Hawkins to Sibley. Sibley's still running hard. He wasn't as prolific as he has been the last couple of weeks.
But that goes to what Coach was talking about as far as the defensive
Yeah.
scheme change on the part of Braswell.
Yeah.
And they were good tackling too,
Yeah.
for the most part.
I mean, he still averaged 5 yards a carry. He had 67 yards, and
Mm-hmm.
you can live with that. All of a sudden, it's 26-7, and starting to feel a little more comfortable. Even though you look at it and you go, okay, shouldn't it be 45-7 at this point, or something? You left.
Comfortable for me, but you guys probably uncomfortable saying it was going to be 52.
I said they were going to score 59, so I was really not
Very confident.
Yeah, I was. Yeah, I mean, this defense of Braswell had given up 129 points in the last 2 games. So I was just thinking, well,
And you had some points on drives that ended on 4th down, and you get pretty close to that number.
Yeah.
So you take away beating yourself in the first half.
Well, yeah, the 2 4th down plays. If you convert on those 2 drives, that's 14 more. You're at 57.
Yeah, I should have made a sign that just said the score.
Yeah,
Perfect.
exactly.
Yep. Keep reminding ourselves.
Defense continues to play well, and the next touchdown for Allen took a while. He had to get into the 4th quarter. Way in the 4th quarter, actually, when you look at this. It's like, geez. They actually get a field goal with 10:48 remaining to make it 29. On the next series, Hawkins completes a pass to Dustin Kellison. I think that's 84, isn't it? Wasn't that 84? No, 84 was with Dylan. I'm sorry, guys. What was his name again?
Edit.
Dustin Kellison. Nah, their people are used to us bannering. And see, I don't even have him on the roster. How crazy is that?
Which number?
Dustin Kellison. I don't have a number. I'm looking for.
What?
I'm looking for a number. I don't see a number. Someone will fill that in for us.
Yeah.
There you go.
Below.
Because I don't see that. And then the last touchdown came. Dylan Chapman throws a skinny post over the middle to Ashton Vine.
Ashton Vine. That was a thing of beauty right there.
What a play that was.
Let's all take a moment and enjoy this replay.
So, one thing that was hilarious is we've been kicking off into the end zone all night long.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, so and they don't even look back. They just start walking to their sidelines, or they just they go over the head. And then we had that one kickoff. It comes down and bounces like on the 2 or 3,
Yep.
and goes straight up in the air and comes back. And wow, it's a free for all trying to get the ball. And how this guy comes out of that pile with all those people in that corner and runs 60 yards the other way, I just don't understand
I
it.
don't either.
It just blew my mind.
I was just like, special teams going to get a talking to. You're like, you had him trapped in the corner.
On the 1 yard line.
Yeah, because Jerian thought the ball was going to the end zone, and then it kicked back, and he's like, uh-oh.
I better grab it.
By the time he grabbed it, it was just like, oh, you're kidding me. Luckily, he stepped out of bounds
Yeah.
on his own accord, but
They shot themselves in their own foot several times.
Some new ones, that's for sure.
That was pretty amazing.
The finals 43-7 Allen, 42 yards offense, 313 passing, 229 rushing, so a little more balance. 9.21 yards per pass, 7.39 yards per rush, only the one turnover. Put that in quotation marks because I still don't think it was a turnover. You win the turnover battle again, you win your second district game, and you jump to 4-1 for the year. Rock Hill's up next week, as we mentioned. Rock Hill got plastered. 49-0 by Prosper last night. Geyer takes care of Little Elm 49-21. And in the battle at the crown jewel of Texas high school football up at McKinney last night, Boyd loses to McKinney 45-28.
McKinney's got a good team.
So you look at the top four teams in the district. It's Geyer, McKinney, and Allen all at 2-0.
Mm-hmm.
Prosper's at 1-1.
Prosper's trying to earn that.
Yeah, so I think those are your four.
I think they'll get
I
there.
think those will be your four playoff teams. I really do. Just from what we've seen so far. Now, how they all fall out, yet to be determined. Next week, Allen hosts Rock Hill.
Homecoming.
McKinney gets Braswell.
Yeah. Get your moms ready.
Yeah, exactly. Little Elm gets Prosper, and Geyer gets Boyd. I think there's clear favorites in every one of those games. So this district standings will look very similar next week as they do right now.
Yeah.
We'll see what happens.
Yeah. And I think even though you mentioned the last, 3 games for us are going to be a challenge.
3 of the last 4.
Yeah, 3 of the last 4. I think that's going to be the case for pretty much all the teams.
Yeah.
McKinney's got to play Prosper. McKinney's got to play, Geyer, et cetera. Yeah. So it's going to make for an interesting end of the regular season.
Yeah. Because Allen, homecoming, then an off week.
Right.
And then that
October
stretch
7th
run.
off week.
Yeah.
Touchdown Club golf tournament.
Yeah, we got that written down here. The golf tournament October 7th at West Ridge at McKinney.
Mm-hmm.
Sign up now.
That's a Friday.
It is a Friday. It's not a Saturday. So
Take the day off. Come out. Support your team.
if you're able to, come do it.
Do it. No, just take the day off. Quit your job. Come out. Support the team.
Quit your job. You know how they say there's certain financial advisors you shouldn't listen to?
Not me.
That'd be one of them right there. Quit your job. Oh. Programs were on sale last week. I actually got one. I was reminded by Gloria Cockrell last night that they will be selling programs this week again. She said, come see her. She'll sell you one. She didn't say she'd give you a discount. But
$10.
$10.
Supports the Touchdown Club.
Yep.
Support your local Touchdown Club.
Yep.
Buy
a program.
a program.
They're really good. They did a good job this year.
Nice and thick. It's got so much good
It's
information.
smaller than last year.
Pizza.
I
No,
don't
I
know.
think, last year they did the updates every week, and that was,
They put more, I think, pictures on one page than they did
Right.
last year. I don't know.
Maybe
It's about
it's
the
the
same.
same.
Yeah.
It's about the same.
in the season.
So you've got that coming up as well. Again, homecoming, like you say, this week. Band competition today. Good luck, Escadrille, as they do their first
Where are they
competition.
doing, is that Plano
It's in
East?
Little
or-
Elm.
Little Elm, okay.
I'm not sure who's hosting. I guess Little Elm's hosting it, but I'm not sure what competition it is. But they're doing one today, this
Is
afternoon.
is this a state year for band?
I have no idea. I've lost
Some of
track.
you
If they're
band
going to a
parents.
competition, it's a state year. 'Cause they don't do that on off years, do they?
Yeah,
Yeah.
they
Do
do.
they? Really?
Yeah, just local.
Seems like a
But that's where you just get like 1, 2, or 3,
Yeah.
and you don't go to state. But
Just trying to think.
we got to talk about the crowd.
Yeah, Coach didn't get my question on it very well. I wasn't
No.
looking for numbers. I was talking about the volume and,
Yeah.
and
the excitement.
the intensity.
yeah.
And,
Yeah, it seemed to really pick up after that fumble.
yeah, it
You
did.
know.
There were, again, there's several things that will ignite a crowd. A big play, a bad call.
I wouldn't,
Or the
a
refs
whole
telling the
ribbon
band they've
call.
got to be quiet.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That was reminiscent of that. Now, it wasn't like the same level. It wasn't as many people,
Right.
but that was one of the more engaged, energized crowds I've been a part of. And it caused a timeout to be taken.
It did.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Mission accomplished. Good job, crowd.
Yeah, good job.
Yeah, there was a lot of flags thrown last night, but there's not as many as JJ's mom was throwing. She was great, man.
She was fire. It's fun to have entertainment while you're at the game, outside
man.
of the game.
Yeah.
You know, and that's kind of what we look for, you know, is what else is
Absolutely.
going on. And
Absolutely.
we try to relay that to people. So kudos to, I guess, is that Denton PD last night? Who would have
Oh,
been
yeah, on the exit?
Yeah, on the
Would have been
exit.
running
Oh,
that.
yeah.
Yeah.
You know, Plano PD, you could have taken lessons
Yes.
getting out of Kimbrough from those guys because
They had it.
we were out.
Yeah, it was
Yeah.
no wait.
Now, Sonic up there, another story. Mr.
Apparently-
James here.
Apparently, the manager just decides to like disappear for long periods.
We go to Sonic because James needed a Route 44 drink on the way home.
So
And we're there 35 minutes. This is no lie. 35 minutes. We waited for 2 drinks. And the kid comes out, and I said, y'all shorthanded? He goes, our manager just keeps disappearing, and we don't know where he goes.